The story of Vice Admiral Elena Vasquez, known in the shadows of naval special warfare as Ghost, begins long before that fateful day at Dulles International Airport on December 19, 2025. To truly understand how a woman of her stature found herself pressed against a cold airport wall, enduring the indignity of a demanded strip search by overzealous National Guard troops, we must go back to the roots of her extraordinary life. A life forged in hardship, tempered by unbreakable will, and crowned with achievements that most could only dream of. Elena Maria Vasquez was born on July 14, 1970, in a small barrio in San Antonio, Texas, to parents who had crossed the Rio Grande with nothing but hope and determination. Her father, Miguel, worked double shifts as a mechanic, while her mother, Rosa, cleaned houses and took in sewing to keep the family afloat. From the earliest age, Elena learned that survival demanded resilience. The neighborhood was rough. Gangs roamed the streets, drugs tempted the vulnerable, and opportunities for girls like her were scarce. But Elena was different. She had fire in her eyes and a mind that refused to accept limits. At Luther Burbank High School, she excelled in everything she touched. She ran track, breaking school records in the 400-meter dash. She joined the junior ROTC program and rose quickly to cadet commander. Teachers noticed her leadership. Peers followed her without question. When college recruiters came calling, Elena chose the United States Naval Academy over Ivy League offers. In 1988, at just 18, she stepped onto the yard in Annapolis, one of only a handful of Hispanic women in her class. The academy was unforgiving. Plebe year tested her body and spirit. Upperclassmen hazed relentlessly, and some questioned whether a woman belonged in their ranks. Elena answered with performance. She maxed every physical fitness test, aced academics in engineering, and volunteered for every tough assignment. By her first high year, she was a company commander, respected even by those who had doubted her. Upon graduation in 1992, Elena commissioned as an ensign and chose surface warfare. She served on destroyers and cruisers, deploying to the Persian Gulf during Operation Desert Shield. She earned her SWO pin in record time and caught the eye of admirals who saw something special in her. But Elena wanted more. She wanted to be where the action was real, where decisions meant life or death. In 1998, she applied for the newly opened paths for women in special operations support roles. The SEAL community was still closed, but Elena found ways to train alongside them. Diving courses, airborne school, language training in Arabic and Pashto. The turning point came after September 11th. The nation needed warriors, and barriers began to crack. Elena, now a lieutenant commander, volunteered for a classified program that allowed exceptional officers to attempt BUD/S, the basic underwater demolition/SEAL training, the legendary crucible that broke most men. In 2002, under special authority and in complete secrecy, Elena entered the program disguised as just another candidate. No special treatment, no lowered standards. She rang the bell only in nightmares. In reality, she endured Hell Week on 4 hours of sleep total, carried logs heavier than herself, swam miles in freezing Pacific surf, and outshot half her class on the range. When she earned her Trident in a private ceremony attended only by the commanding officer and a few trusted instructors, history was made. Elena Vasquez became the first woman Navy SEAL. Her existence remained classified for years to protect her and the program. She deployed immediately with SEAL Team 3 to Afghanistan, operating in the shadows of the Hindu Kush. Her call sign Ghost came from her ability to appear and disappear, gathering intelligence, calling in strikes, and extracting downed pilots under fire. Over the next 2 decades, Elena's career became legend within the community. She led platoons in Iraq during the surge, hunting high-value targets in Ramadi and Fallujah. She commanded a task unit in Somalia, disrupting pirate networks and al-Shabaab financing. She conducted covert maritime interdictions in the South China Sea and trained partner forces in Colombia against narco-submarines. Each mission added scars to her body and commendations to her sealed record silver stars, bronze stars with V devices, purple hearts. She rose steadily. Commander, Captain, Rear Admiral, lower half, then Rear Admiral. By 2023, Elena had been selected for Vice Admiral, taking command of Naval Special Warfare Command in Coronado, California. At 53, she was the highest-ranking female SEAL ever and one of the most respected officers in the entire Navy. Yet she remained humble, often visiting BUD/S classes incognito to mentor candidates without revealing her identity. She fought for better integration, higher standards, and zero tolerance for misconduct. Her tattoo, the SEAL Trident fused with an American eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows, symbolized her philosophy: peace through unmatched strength. But in late 2025, troubling intelligence reached her desk. A whistleblower, a mid-level DHS analyst, reported systematic corruption at several major U.S. airports. TSA screeners and augmenting National Guard units were allegedly taking bribes to wave through certain passengers, drug couriers, human traffickers, and potentially terrorist facilitators. The ring was small but dangerous, exploiting post-pandemic staffing shortages and lax oversight. The Secretary of Defense and the Director of National Intelligence agreed. This needed an inside look from someone who could blend in, provoke the corrupt elements, and gather ironclad evidence without tipping off the suspects. Only one person fit the bill: Elena herself. She was ordered to go undercover as a civilian traveler, trigger the checkpoint protocols, and see who bit. No backup visible, no wire, just her training and a concealed high-resolution recorder in her backpack. Her cover: Elena Ramirez, management consultant flying to Chicago for a conference. Fake ID, planted digital trail, the works. On the morning of December 19, 2025, Elena arrived at Dulles in a rideshare, dressed plainly, worn Levi's, white tank top, denim jacket, comfortable sneakers, hair in a simple bun. She carried a nondescript backpack with a metal buckle deliberately chosen to trip scanners. Her flight was at 11:45 a.m. She timed her arrival to hit the peak shift change when oversight was thinnest. The checkpoint was busy. Families heading home for Christmas, business travelers rushing, uniformed personnel everywhere. National Guard troops from the Virginia Army National Guard's 34th Military Police Company augmented TSA due to heightened holiday alerts. Among them was Sergeant Mark Harlan, 28, a former high school football star from Roanoke who had enlisted for college money but grown bitter after multiple deployments left him with mild PTSD and a chip on his shoulder. Harlan had fallen in with a bad crowd, 2 TSA supervisors and another soldier, who ran a side hustle. $5,000 to bypass full screening for clean smugglers referred by cartel contacts. Harlan spotted Elena in line. Middle-aged woman, traveling alone. Slightly muscular build but nothing alarming. Perfect mark for a power play. When her bag flagged and she walked through the detector setting off a secondary alarm, the underwire bra and a small titanium multi-tool disguised as a keychain, Harlan volunteered to handle the additional screening. "Step over here, ma'am," he said with false politeness. His pat-down was aggressive, hands pressing harder than necessary. When he felt the raised ink of her tattoo through the fabric, his eyes lit up. "Opportunity. Got something under there?" he asked loudly, drawing attention. Private Jake Rollins, his 22-year-old shadow from the same unit, snickered. The female TSA agent assigned, Sarah Gwynn, looked uncomfortable but said nothing. Elena remained calm, pulse steady at 62 beats per minute. She had been through SEER training, survival, evasion, resistance, escape, where interrogators did far worse. This was nothing, but she noted every detail. Name tapes, badge numbers, tones of voice. Harlan escalated quickly. Policy requires private screening for anomalies. Possible concealment. There was no such anomaly, but no one challenged him. Elena was escorted to the private room, Rollins and Harlan flanking her like prisoners. Inside, Agent Nguyen reluctantly explained the procedure. "Ma'am, I'll need you to remove your jacket, shirt, pants, and undergarments for a visual inspection." Her voice wavered. She hated this part. Elena nodded. She removed her jacket, folded it neatly. Then her shirt, revealing the full tattoo and a torso mapped with scars. A jagged line across her ribs from an IED in Helmand, puckered circles from 7.62 rounds in Mosul, a long surgical scar from compartment syndrome after a parachute malfunction. Nguyen's eyes widened. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Those look serious. Elena met her gaze. Old injuries. They don't bother me anymore. The search continued. Elena stood unflinching as Nguyen performed the visual check, finding nothing, of course. But every second was recorded by the microcamera in Elena's watch. Audio captured by the backpack left just outside the door. When Elena dressed and emerged, Harlan was waiting, impatient. "Find anything interesting?" he asked Nguyen with a smirk. "No, Sergeant. She's clear." Harlan wasn't satisfied. Something about her calm demeanor unnerved him. "I think we need to detain her for further questioning. She fits a profile." Elena spoke for the first time with steel in her voice. "What profile exactly, Sergeant Harlan?" He bristled. "That's above your pay grade, civilian." Then her phone rang deliberately on speaker. The voice of her chief of staff, Captain Daniel Reyes, came through. "Admiral Vasquez, your extraction team is 3 minutes out. Confirm you are secure." The hallway froze. Harlan's face drained of color. Rollins dropped his rifle sling. "Admiral," Harlan stammered. Elena ended the call. "Vice Admiral Elena Vasquez, United States Navy. You just subjected a 3-star flag officer to an unwarranted and humiliating search while on a classified integrity inspection of this very facility." She reached into her backpack's hidden compartment and produced her CAC card and orders signed by the Secretary of the Navy. The holographic seal gleamed. Doors burst open. NCIS special agents in windbreakers flooded the checkpoint, followed by military police. Harlan's accomplices, 2 TSA leads, were already in cuffs at adjacent lanes, caught red-handed waving through a test mule planted by the task force. Harlan tried to run, but Elena's hand shot out, gripping his arm with vice-like strength honed by decades of training. "Stand fast, Sergeant. You're done." Within minutes, the entire terminal was locked down. A 4-star admiral, chief of naval operations himself, arrived by helicopter on the tarmac to personally debrief Elena. News crews caught glimpses but were kept back. The story would remain classified for national security. In the weeks that followed, the corruption ring was dismantled. 17 arrests across 5 airports. Harlan received a dishonorable discharge and 10 years in Leavenworth. The whistleblower received protection and a new identity. Elena returned to Coronado, resuming command. But the incident changed things. Congress held hearings on airport security oversight. Training programs were overhauled. And Elena's legend grew, not for enduring humiliation, but for turning it into justice. She continued serving until mandatory retirement at 60, mentoring the next generation of warriors, men and women alike. Her final act as admiral was pinning tridents on the newest class, whispering to each, "Earn this every day." Years later, veterans still tell the story. The day some guards ordered a strip search on a quiet woman in jeans, never knowing they had laid hands on a living legend. A Navy SEAL admiral who protected the nation not with fanfare, but with unbreakable resolve. The lesson endures. Never judge by appearance. True strength often wears the plainest clothes. If you love your mom and dad, the ones who sacrificed everything to give you a shot at the American dream, just like Elena's parents did, hit that subscribe button right now and show some love to the channel. Real stories of real American heroes need to be heard. Now drop a comment below. From which part of the country are you watching this video? Texas strong? Florida heat? California vibes? New York hustle? Midwest heart? Let me know. I read every single one.